Friday, April 25, 2025. It's one day after the first round of the NFL draft. I'm Andrew Duhan. Alongside me is my electric co-host who needs no introduction. A lot of you know him as Jay Ben. He's a former radio host for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, Falcons insider, professor, coach, writer, whatever you think of it, he's done it. And you know what? If you want to go at him on X, at JMB_CU16, go at him, but don't cry about it when he goes and, retaliates back, right? Don't play victim if you go poke him. So you're allowed to fuck with him, but when you do, there's no getting upset after that. So, we've got another packed agenda for you guys. Before we get in, please like, comment, subscribe to the pod. We're on YouTube and Spotify. We only go as far as Falcons Nations take us. So buckle up, enjoy the ride, and thank you for joining us on this flight path. Jeff, Jalen Walker falls to us at 15. He was rumored to go as high as even 5. Some people had him going to Jacksonville, but we stood our ground. We took him at 15. And then we, in typical Falcons fashion, we make a huge splash at pick 26. The Rams were on the clock, and we traded up. We gave up our 2026 first-round pick. We essentially slid back in the second round from 46 to the third round, 101, but then got a guy who the Falcons were ready to take at 15, James Pearce Jr. out of UT, Jeff's favorite program in college football. And basically, Jeff, I'm seeing stuff all over the web that's like, we gave up too much. How could we give up 2 first rounders, etc., etc.? What did you make of this? Are you happy with the 2 pass rushers two pass rushers we got? It's crazy to even say it out loud in the first round of this year's draft.
So let's set some shit straight here, right? Let's start off by this. I absolutely feel vindicated, right? Because I've told everybody all along that Jalen Walker was their number 1, right? In every interview I've done, I've even said on numerous one of our episodes, but every interview I did, every question I answered, who are they taking? Jalen Walker. Well, he's not going to be available. Who's number 2? So then what do? Out of the kindness of my heart, I give you guys their top 7 on their draft board, right? Because the goal was to go down that draft list and take whoever was there. Okay, that was the goal. Yes, there were rumors about moving up and moving back and all of those other things, but ultimately they did not deviate from that draft board that I gave you. Not one bit. They took 1 and 2 off that draft board, right? And so we actually talked about, I think it was episode 3 here in Flight Path, we talked about, would you be willing to give up to move up to 7 to go get Jalen Walker ahead? Because the rumor was that Carolina wanted him, then the Saints wanted him, Jacksonville, how are they going to maneuver to go get their number 1 guy? And I actually said to you guys, why would you not be willing to give up your first round pick in 2026 to go up and get a guy that you need at a huge position of need? Wasn't necessarily talking about James Pearce. I understand that, but my whole point is I said to you, if you address this need, you are in the playoffs next year. There's no, and I'm not. I have been very firm on that. This offense is a top 3 offense in the NFL. All you had to have was a defense that could get a couple fucking stops, and next thing you know, you're winning 3 or 4 extra games. This defense has been transformed between free agency and just day 1 of the draft, right? And yes, you didn't give up your 2026. You swapped it out, right? You still have a first round pick. You just took it in 2025. So for me and everybody, and I know you're a math guy, and I'm not saying you're wrong here, right? But everybody wants to assign these weird arbitrary numbers to show how the Falcons got screwed out of this. My whole point to you is this: is if you look at the edge rushers for next year, James Pearce is probably 1 or 2 among the available for next year. You got the number 1 or number 2 edge rusher in next year's draft at number 26 this year. There has to be a value assigned for that, and nobody's willing to do that. So for me, I said it immediately. I loved what they did. I loved that they were willing to get to take 2026 first round in 2025. I think they addressed need in 2 different ways. You got 2 different types of pass rushers. right? You got a freak athlete, and they are very different body wise. I actually just posted the picture on Twitter. There's about a 4-inch height difference between the two. James Pearce is ginormous. Jalen Walker, 6'2", 260. He's a normal size looking guy. James Pearce is just a monster looking guy without his pads on. I love the draft picks. I love what they did. You essentially you moved back from the second to the third round. You gave up a seventh to go get your 2026 draft pick early. I love it. I love that Arthur Blank was willing to allow Terry Fontenot to go do that because he could have said no. I think Jeff Ulbrich has what he needs to transform this defense into what he had in New York. And I am absolutely fucking ecstatic with the way that last night went down. I don't know that I've been this excited since, I hate to say it, since Vic Beasley, right? And it wasn't because I'm a Clemson alum and Vic Beasley was the premier pass rusher. I think both these guys are far better than Vic. And more importantly, it wasn't Vic's talent that was the issue. It was the fact that he didn't give a shit about football. And I don't think you have to worry about that with these two guys.
Jeff, a lot of mainstream insiders, what typically gets them to set off, in my opinion, at situations like this is when they're not in the loop. They had no idea that, Falcons valued JPJ that high and that they wanted to trade up. And when that uncertainty hits them, that causes them to react. So, if you look at every single mainstream insider, they're just bashing Atlanta. There's not one person out there besides Falcons fan. And for once, it's the Falcons fans saying hey, this is great. We got two. We wanted one. We got two. And to your point, we just used the 2026 first round pick on a guy that we were willing to spend a 2025 15th overall pick for. So, the math works out. You can do whatever you want. You could assign any arbitrary number you want. But at the end of the day, those are based on historical averages. People just trying to, I'm in this business. I know you assign subjective values to things to trying to quantify it, right? Well, you know what you can't quantify? How Raw, Brick, and Terry Fontenot feel about James Pearce Jr. and pit that against the 15th overall pick, the 10th overall pick. That's what matters at the end of the day. They got their guy, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, and ultimately, to me, that's what matters, right? They got their guy. The same people shitting on this Falcons trade and how they got fleeced and this, that, and the other also had Mike Green as the best pass rusher in this draft, right? Even though every quantifiable number you have says that they were wrong, they still had that. These same people still had Shedeur Sanders going in the top 5, right? Both those guys are sitting at home, waiting for their name to be called. So I have always said I take it with a grain of salt when the media on somebody, because teams completely feel different. Right? Teams do not feel the same way media does. That's why teams are in draft rooms behind closed doors. And that's why the media is out here, screaming from the top of their lungs, that they're right. And I always try to caution people, man, just because Adam Schefter or what's the moron's name at ESPN that's been there for 30 years now,
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper. In 35 years of doing this, Mel Kiper has not been right one damn time. And everybody wants to take what he says as if it's some sort of, Bible. He's yet to be right. And nobody shit on this trade worse than ESPN did yesterday. If you have your notifications on for ESPN, it was immediately Falcons get F minus. That's not even a grade. F minus isn't even a grade. It's an F. But everybody's crapping on this trade. And then if we're being honest, whether you like the trade like I do, or I love the trade, whether you like it or you love it or you hate it, let's wait 4 years and see where this actually lands, right? Because 4 years from now, we'll know exactly how this trade went down. We'll know exactly who got fleeced and who didn't. But my instincts tell me the Falcons will come out on this one. And a lot of us will be looking back on these idiots and laughing really, really hard at them.
Yeah, for sure. Jeff, look, if they both hit, we have 2 pass rushers for 5 years at very, very minimal deals. We're talking about almost 30 million combined. I think it's 18 million for Pierce and 18 million for Walker, 13 million for Pierce. We're about to give Micah Parsons $30 million. So that's Pierce and Walker combined. We're gonna give Micah more per year and give up 2 first round picks. Jeff, let me ask you this. Let's rewind the tape. Let's go back in time. If I told you, hey Jeff, instead of what just happened right now, you could have Micah, but you would have to give up basically everything you just gave up right now. The 2025 first, the 2026 first, the 2025 second. So basically all the draft capital that was wasted today goes, but you have to pay Micah 40 million. Do you like where you're at right now, or would you take Micah?
Oh, I feel like you want me to answer a certain way, and I don't know that I'm going to, right? I mean,
I want your
I think
honest
that's
take.
honestly, I would take Micah.
Okay.
And I love these draft picks, but here's why. Let me state that, because when you look over the course of NFL history, okay, which is a really important number, the only person that has done what Micah Parsons has done in his first 4 years in the NFL was Reggie White. Think about that. That's how generational Micah Parsons has been. So if you tell me I got to give up 3 first-round draft picks and $40 million a year to go get that guy, I'm going to go get that guy. But that doesn't mean I don't love what they just did. You give me anybody else, and the answer is going to be completely different. But when you get, like, if you had said, hey, we can go get TJ Watt, or we can have this, or we can go get Myles Garrett, or we can have this, I'm going to take what we have now over those two guys. But Micah Parsons, to me, is in a whole different level, because what he has done in his first 4 years has only ever been done one time, and that was by arguably the best defensive end of my generation, my lifetime, in Reggie White. You know,
Yeah.
so if you're under the age of 40, you don't remember Reggie White. You may remember the older aspect of him in Green Bay, where he was at the end of his career. You don't remember the Philadelphia Eagles, Reggie White. You don't remember the actual minister of defense and what an absolute beast that dude was.
The Reverend.
Yes, right? Like, it was. So when that is the only comp you have in NFL history, I'm going to take that every time. That said, I love what the Falcons did. I think Terry absolutely knocked this out of the park. He could not have done better. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw that we traded back in last night, I was like, oh shit, we're about to go get Malachi Starks. I was jumped. And then they said James Pearce, and I was like, let's
Even
run.
better.
Like, let's line this thing up right now and go play, right? Like, instantly geeked. I was not going to allow anybody to bring me down last night or today. All the haters can keep all their nonsense to themselves. I absolutely love what took place. And for me, this is the best draft that he has put together in his 4 years as general manager. And I mean, I love Bijan. I think Michael Penix is going to be a stud. Drake London is absolutely insane, right? Like, they put together really good draft picks in the last 3 years. But God, he knocked it out of the park last night.
He really did. He really did. And I think he was a little shocked himself that Pierce just kept slipping and he couldn't help it.
Yeah.
But